Today we're going to start making a garden. This isn't our great big eventually we're going to have it garden, but this is a garden to show how to do it. And actually for us, this is our start of gardening.
This is a garden to say we're starting no matter what.
So it's something we can do right now. It's not going to be too disruptive, and it's going to get us started for this year to have our initial garden going. More to come later, but this is how we start.
It's going to be 30 inches by 50 feet.
Yes.
So 2.5 feet by 50 feet.
One row, that's all we're doing. Something we can manage and do with everything else that we're doing right now.
What, Jim? I thought of this today. If we could get a net and put the chickens in there, they can eat the dandelions and all of that. That's really super nutritious.
Just circle that whole thing in
Yep.
and do it and get it going.
So we're now going to use a small fork. We saw this done yesterday on one of the YouTube channels, and I'll have to put the link to it. She's in Australia, she wears bare feet and does her forking, and she just uses the small fork, which is perfect for us right now because our broad fork is still in Oregon, and we're just going to aerate and pull up the soil but not turn it over. We're just going to let air come underneath it. There it is. So he's just taking that soil and pulling it up and leaving it there, putting air in it, and then he absolutely do not want to walk on that.
You notice that I'm walking where I haven't done this yet.
So now we've got air in here. Cool. How's that work, Phil?
It's not bad. You know, where the rocks are, it's a little bit of a problem, but that's to be expected.
And we're going to get all these things out of here.
The weeds, the bigger
weeds.
rooted weeds.
We understand dandelions are weeds, but you can eat them. But we haven't yet. I've never eaten a dandelion.
I think this is our year.
So what we're going to do is take a small section of this and show you how we're going to do it. We learned a little bit different way than putting the... We're not going to put the newspaper or cardboard right down on this. The way she did it is she puts everything on and puts the compost on and then puts the newspaper or cardboard on to be able to block out any seeds that may be in the compost, which is a really great idea. And then she'll put the straw or the hay on after that. So that's what we're gonna try in this little thing. We've got so much land here that we can try a zillion experiments.
What we've decided we're gonna do for our varied YouTube audience, some who have lots of land, some who have a little bit, some who may be just doing flower pots on their deck. We're going to demonstrate the techniques we know about for all of the possibilities of homesteading. So that no matter what your circumstance is, we're going to be able to share and talk and discuss about something that applies to you. So it's going to keep us busy, give us lots to do, but it's also going to give us an opportunity to explore every type of gardening possibility that we can imagine.
This is probably overall easier than the broad fork because it's rockier, right? Would you say? Or do you think the broad fork would be easier?
The broad fork's going to want to go a little deeper. So this is not going as deep as the broad fork would go. But the smaller tines, they go in a lot easier. And I'm not trying to turn it over, so I'm not having to work as much to get the soil.
Oh, that's great.
Ready.
Want to do one more row?
One last row.
Now we choose to do a 2.5 foot wide bed, which is a 30-inch bed, because we have done the 4-foot beds before, and we do not like the 4-foot beds at all. J.M. Fortier in his market garden, Curtis Stone in his market garden, Elliot Coleman in his market garden, they all use 30-inch beds. And
you know, the 4-foot bed or any size bed has its place. And so we're not saying never do them.
Just for us.
But for us it makes sense because the tools that we are in the process of acquiring are all designed for 30-inch beds. And for doing something small, it doesn't matter quite as much. But for the market gardening that we plan to do where it's a lot larger, we need to be standardized so that everything we buy is based on one standard size, and we're not having to have multiple sizes and craziness as we try to do it.
Listen to you, you're breathing hard.
She's working me out. Finally, I'm getting to work.
Yes. So I just wanted to say, on the 4-foot ones, you cannot jump across those. So you have to go all the way to the end of the bed and over.
I guess you could if you're really nimble.
I couldn't.
Rhenda be nimble, Rhenda be quick.
Yeah, Rhenda step on the lettuce stick.
Yeah, probably so.
So, but a 30-inch, you can just hop across. And so that's
so what are we doing next?
Well, next we will put amendments on it. And, but you're going to go back to work for a while.
I got to go back to work.
So remember, when you're sustainably living in place, you don't have to do the whole thing all at once. He just took a break from work. We came outside, did a little bit, marked it off, did 4 feet.
I've got to say this was better than a smoke break or a coffee break. This was healthy.
Of which we don't do either one. So yeah. Pretty good. And I'm sure during the day when he gets frustrated with work, he can just come out and do another 5 rows.
Yeah, when everything's stupid, I can come out and do something fun and exciting.
So we're collecting some manure right now, but remember, we don't have any of our tools, and there's no tools around here. So we've got our little fork, and he's going to use a bucket here. And this place is rich with manure. And so we're going to put some of this on top of the grass. Feels so good to be working. How'd you get over there? You crawled, huh? We need a gate on this side. You're gonna... I got it.
Okay, this is some natural plant food that we have. Got a lot of fish particles in it. It's got some good odor to it if you let it set in water for a while.
Oh my word, it stunk up my entire house in Pennsylvania. So we're using this because we don't have all of our organic fertilizer that we do normally use and make up homemade. So he's going to sprinkle that down into the grass.
That I don't want to step on.
That we don't want to step on. That's another reason. See the 30-inch rows, you can just straddle them.
Come out.
We don't have a rake, a shovel, a hoe, nothing. So don't let me hear any excuses as to why you haven't put a garden in. This is the weirdest looking thing because we never have done gardens like this. I mean, we did last year and they were wonderful. But those people that think you have to double dig, this is a no-till.
Double dug. And it's not as enjoyable as what we're doing here. And we had so much success with this type of approach that we're convinced that the workload is better. Plus we controlled the weeds a lot better with what we did, so that's really what this is all about. Yeah. This is something new. I mean, it can go down to a lot smaller, but if you look at the makeup of this, we're not working with the plastic kinds of things that are there before. It's got some food safe kinds of plastic on the inside and then this mesh on the outside. But it tends to be smaller, but it doesn't have any of the lead types of additives that would get into the water when we have. So it's a much safer to use.
Okay. Now we're just doing a small area to be able to show you the process of which we're using. This also conserves our energy, which makes us sustainable. But actually we don't have all of the stuff to be able to do the entire thing right now.
We are using peat moss because that's what's available to us. I'd rather be getting like the coconut coir or something that's a little bit more sustainable. I mean, there's only so much peat moss and it's going away fast. So, but it's what we can get.
So we're going to put 2 inches thick all over. You know, I see one advantage to putting the cardboard on the top. The worms can come up through all of this and pull it down in.
This is what you want.
Yeah.
The soil to get built like crazy.
That's great. Now compost. Ah. Now the seller has already loaned us a trailer to go down and get a big load of compost that's going to be bulk. We just are not doing any of that yet. And so we wanted to be able to show how to do this. So we just went and got a couple of bags of 2 cubic feet.
So this is smaller scale than we intend to do, but like I mentioned before, I don't know if it's on this same video or a different video, but we're going to do some demonstration gardens. Gardens we actually can use that we're going to grow a lot of great stuff in, but we're going to demonstrate how to do smaller scale. And in this case, we're showing if you have the ability to do a 30-inch bed, 50 foot long, then that's what we're providing right here.
And we're putting both bags on top because we want this to be 4 inches thick, but we'll smooth this out first.
Now we're going to share here on the screen and in the explanations down below the formula that you can use to determine how many bags you need. Now these bags come in different sizes. The bags that we bought say that they are, is it written on
2
here?
cubic feet.
Somewhere on here it says 2, oh right there. It says 2 cubic feet. So for you mathematicians, you understand what that means. For the rest of us, we might need a little bit of instruction to understand what's going on here with a cubic foot. But 2 cubic feet is going to mean you are 2 feet long, 1 foot tall, and 1 foot wide. That'd be, I guess, 1 foot tall, right? You can't have 1 feet.
1 feet. That's a great big board thing out of there.
Yeah. So we'll put the formula up how you calculate this. Now, we are wanting to be 6 inches deep in compost. And so we decided 4 inches, sorry.
Yeah, because we did 2 in peat moss.
2 in peat moss. So for 4 inches of compost, what we're saying is we're 2.5 feet wide, and in this case, we knew we had 4 cubic feet. So we figured out how many feet we could go here in bed to get the 4 cubic foot. But let's say you had a 5 cubic foot bed, or like 5 1/4 cubic foot bed. So what you're saying is it's 5.25 long, 2.5 wide, and 0.3 deep. So you multiply those 3 numbers times one another and you come up with the total cubic feet of compost that you need. We'll show the formula here, but it's the formula you can use to know how many cubic feet for the size of bed you're trying to put in. So you convert everything to feet, do the multiplications, and it comes out with what you need. You buy the number of bags, put it on, and you're there.
Now we can use cardboard boxes or we can use newspaper. We actually have our moving paper left over and it's supposed to be 10 thick. So I'm going to see if we have enough, and I have cardboard boxes since we moved too. So I don't know if we do or not. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So this goes on top.
Now, we want to
do it
cover
like that.
Yeah, kind of some and some.
Yeah. Is that good?
Yeah.
And then we'll put this here on the next one. So now we're going to put hay on the top. We're going to do it really loose. This has been stuff that's just been sitting around, so it's all moist and yuck. Now we also are going to be putting cardboard down along the paths and putting wood chips along there so the grass does not grow up into what we're growing. Okay.
What do you think we're thick enough?
As long as I can still see the paper. We're not supposed to see the paper at all. You're supposed to keep your paper covered completely because the sun will dry it out and break it down. Water in one last time.
Next, we're going to do the planting. Rhenda is spreading apart the mulch, getting down to where we have the paper, and she's going to tear a hole in the paper, and then she's adding some potting soil in there to aid the beginning of this new start. And we have here a tomato.
Oh, early girl.
This is an early girl tomato that is going in here in this spot with loving care. A little bit more potting soil to go over the top of it, and there it sets nice and secure.
You don't want to put that, you don't want to have the mulch touch.
I'm going to demonstrate the way we choose to cover and protect our garden. This covering could be used for putting netting on, for putting plastic over it, for putting the permeable row covers over it, whatever you might want to do, but it's a way to protect. This wire comes from the chain link fencing area of the at the hardware store. It's pretty heavy. So but it is pliable. It is bendable by hand, so it's really easy to work with.
I don't even
come down here. So I cut the wire at 6 feet. That's 6 inches into the ground at both ends. This end's kind of hard, so it doesn't go down 6 inches. So it's 5 foot out of the ground, 6 inches on both ends, for a total of 1 foot under the ground. So 4 hoops, they're 2 feet apart, so it's going to take us down there 6 feet, which is a little bit more than our 5 foot. Now we have the net on here. This net is 7 foot long. It's rabbit net. It should do the protection from what we need to protect.
It's 7 foot wide.
It's 7 foot wide and long enough to do our whole 50-foot bed. I'm going to put a stake in here at the end. We've used rebar for this before, so this is a way to tie this down to hold it firm so that it's a little harder to push up the sides by critters. I'm going to put a stake here at this end as well, and once this is in place, I'm going to take, I have them here in my pocket, some of these hooks to hook the sides in so that the sides are held down and no little critters can just push it up at will. What's that?
I thought he was coming back.
Nobody's coming. Start on the easy side first. Sorry that I didn't think to talk while I was demonstrating. I was so focused on what I was doing that I failed to explain what I was doing, but I got the little hooks that poke into the ground and hook onto the net to pull it down so that it can't be easily pulled up. So I'm going around the edges and putting them at every foot along the way so that it can hold the net down. Ta-da! Now we realize it's not going to be long till these are high enough that this no longer does any good. We're really demonstrating how to take care of your starts, and if you have lower plants. If we were just growing some lettuces and that type of thing, this would be perfect. We've actually got to come up with a better solution for protecting as things get taller. It may be a modification of this somewhat, and that's very possible. So we will keep you apprised of what we determine will work for this. Hope you enjoyed this first tutorial. We're going to continue to do this with various gardening techniques to let you have a look at what you can do. Get your juices going on what can fit in your situation.